please give a round of applause to best-selling novelists Rebecca Serle and Laura Dave.
Hi, everyone. Hi, friends. So Laura and I are legitimately like very, very close friends. She is my first phone call in a crisis or on a Tuesday. Sometimes they're the same thing. And we were on the phone a few weeks ago. I was getting ready to leave for book tour for my new novel, Expiration Date's out now everywhere books are sold. Thank you. And my jaw like just came off of its hinges.
You were supposed to speak that day about this.
Yes, about this, and instead we were talking about my like deep-seated fear of death by jaw.
Yes, exactly. And that got us thinking about fear, specifically about fear and writing.
Yes.
And we were curious, is there anyone in this beautiful group of people tonight who's interested in writing a book? Yes. We have some hands. Don't be fearful to raise. Yes. Okay. So we thought we would talk a little bit about, as two fearful people,
We are.
The idea that fear can be your gift when you're writing a book.
Yeah. I wanted to tell a story tonight that's really special to me. So when I was getting ready to write my novel in 5 years, I knew one of the main characters was going to have to die. And I was like really trying to get out of it. I was trying to avoid it. I didn't want to have to go through it, but it had to happen. It was the best version of the story. And I was really scared. I was scared of what I was going to have to put the character through. I was scared of what I was going to have to go through. And I'll never forget this. My very dear friend and fellow novelist, Lila Sales, said to me, just stay close to her. And I always think about that when I'm starting a new project and I'm nervous about like the journey ahead of just taking my protagonist's hand and staying close, and that together, if we maintain that, we can like cross whatever divide we have to get across in order to tell the story that needs to be told.
I think that that's really, so as someone who has so much fear, I'm looking up at these books, which also, it's so fun.
It's fun.
But the first one up there for me, I was so fearful about trying to figure out how to get through it that I had 90,000 words back in 2015 of that book that I threw, not metaphorically, quite literally. I was driving down Highway 29 in Northern California, and I threw it into a bin. It was saved on my computer, so it was more of a gesture. But I was like, I'm gonna get rid of this right now because I was so fearful I couldn't find the end of that book. And the one next to it, which is coming out in September.
It's so good. I've read it. It's so good.
That book has two characters on which the axis of everyone else sort of, rolls around. And for me, I always try to write into the good of people. Even my villains aren't particularly villainous. And these two characters are actually quite complicated. They have a 50-year love affair that some people I felt like might take issue with. And in trying to figure out how to tell their story, I have found myself having a lot of fear about the perception of them.
Yeah.
And I came across this quote in my research. There's an architect in the book, and Louis Kahn, the Salk Institute, he had a quote that now I can't believe I didn't have keeping me company for all the years I've been trying to sit at my desk and do my work, which is that when something brings you fear, when something brings you difficulty, instead of suppressing it, which is our instinct, what if we own it? And so I went the other way when I saw that with these characters. And I instead of anticipating judgment, I leaned into the judgment. And that's sort of when the good came out.
Yeah.
And so I think about that now in terms of how, we can approach fear in writing.
Yeah, and I think that in thinking about and talking about what we wanted to share with you all here tonight, I think we really came to that the book that you're afraid to write is the book that you're meant to write. When you feel that resistance, that fear of what your character is going to have to go through, what you're going to have to go through, judgment of the being out in the world, it means you've tapped into something, a story that wants and needs to be told.
Yes, and we were also talking about, just before we say goodnight, how grateful we are to S&S for helping and supporting us telling stories. Congratulations on 100 years.
We're very grateful. Congratulations. Congratulations.
And here's to the next 100.
Here's to the next 100.